Hi, it's Mr. Layton, and we're back again talking about music and getting you started, okay? For woodwinds. This video is for woodwinds, and when I have my students select their instruments for the first time, they say, Mr. Layton, that's the one I want to play, and now I'm going to teach you how to do it. And here's where you're going to start. So if you play clarinet now, if you're a beginner clarinet, bass clarinet, alto saxophone, tenor saxophone, baritone sax, this is the video for you. And we're going to start with reeds, mouthpiece, and ligature. Okay, so follow along with me. Let's talk about reeds for a second. Okay, reeds, all beginners, I want my beginners to start on Rico 2.5. Okay, you're going to go through quite a bit of reeds until you get used to managing your reeds and taking care of your reeds. And then after about six months, 8 months, you can bump up to a thicker reed. So this is the thickness, 2.5. Please don't go with 2. So you got to know your thickness. All of my reed players start on a 2.5. I think 2 is way too thin. Okay, so go by whether you play clarinet, bass clarinet, alto, tenor, bari sax. Start with a Rico 2.5. And then about 6 months to 8 months later, we're going to bump you up to a 3. Okay, so I want you to work there. If you look at the back, it does show different thicknesses. I don't know if my camera is going to focus on that, but it shows 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, and it goes on to very thick or hard reeds. These 1.5 and 2, that's just too soft. And maybe unless you're like in fourth grade or third grade, but this is mainly I teach sixth, seventh, and eighth, and I start them on 2.5, and it will say it on the reed too, 2.5. Okay, now your reed comes in a holder out of the box, this little plastic holder. That could be fine for now, but making sure that you're taking care of these reeds is really important, because if you have any chips or cracks or splits in there, the reed's no good and you're not going to make sounds. You go to play it and go. So every time you set up, like, make sure you got a good reed. Like a lot of times beginners aren't realizing that, and they go to set up and they're like, I can't make a sound. I was like, well, did you look at your reed? And you're like missing a whole chunk out of your reed. All right. So there's that. To take care of your reeds, buy a reed case, like a hard plastic reed case like this. They're a couple bucks. So in addition to purchasing your own reeds, what you need to do, start purchasing your own reeds. You can buy a 10 pack on Amazon for about $21, and then buy a reed case. Okay, that's super helpful, because then you won't be purchasing a bunch of reeds all the time. And I keep my reeds in here, and I just slide it in there, and it keeps my reed safe. Okay, and it could like bounce around in my case. I can slam it like this, and those reeds don't get damaged. Okay, so now we're going to set up our reed. Okay, and this is the same for all instruments that use mouthpieces and reeds and ligatures, except for I'm just going to be using a clarinet reed in this demonstration. So follow along with me. First thing, I pull my reed out and I'm going to put it into my mouth. Okay, because it needs to be moistened. And I'm talking silly because obviously I'm being silly, but we need to moisten that reed really good. Now, you can also accomplish this by having a cup of water. You can just dip it in a cup of water, or I would put it in this way, and then kind of just take the excess of the water off, okay? And then apply it to your reed. Now, if you look at the reed, it's curved, okay? It's got a curve right here, and then on the other side, where it says Rico 2.5, it's flat. That's the part we're going to apply to our mouthpiece. So our mouthpiece has an opening right here and a flat part. And we're going to match that up, flat on flat. And then we have to do another step. So I have it like that, but this part right here, my reed is too far down. Okay, so I need to adjust that. Oh, now look at my reed. it is too far forward. What is the best spot for it? So the best spot is to square up your reed flat on flat, and then you should only see a tiny thin line of black. And I know that could be kind of hard to see on the camera, but I would say a hairline black. Okay, then you're taking your ligature. Make sure you're putting it on right. Okay, so you have a big opening and a small opening. Don't put it on like this. That's not the right way. Okay, you're going to make sure that those screws are facing you, and it's going to go over this way. So I'm keeping one thumb on the bottom all the time while I'm adjusting this reed so the reed does not slide down. And I want to make sure that I'm getting my ligature as far down as possible, down the mouthpiece and the reed, okay? So I have the screws on the reed side. And then when I play, it goes on the bottom of my lip, right? The reed is on my bottom lip, screws are facing me. And now I'm going to really make sure that that bottom screw is nice and snug. But don't tighten too tight because it'll snap. Because some of these ligatures are not very well made. They are cheap. A good ligature is a better ligature to have that won't really break, but they cost $20 or more. You can spend a ton of money on ligatures and mouthpieces, but just make sure that it's nice and firm on the bottom, and the top one just a little less to help it vibrate, okay? But it's still pretty secure, so you don't want your reed to slide around or anything. Okay, now my reed is on there, and you can see it's squared up in the center, and I see the tiny, when I look at it, I can see a tiny thin line of black from the tip of the mouthpiece. Okay, that's going to enable me to get a good vibration. So that's how it works. Like sound is made by vibrations, right? And when we're blowing into this mouthpiece, we want to get that reed to vibrate. Okay, so we're going to do that in a moment. So there are specific notes that we're going to try to hit, but let's just try to make a sound first. Okay, how do we do this? Well, you need to know what your face needs to do, okay? And we commonly refer to this as our band face. And I want you to think about this. I want you to imagine you're saying ew, like ew, right? What's happening? Ew. You want these corners to go back. Ew. You're imagine you're saying the syllable e or ew. Or some folks say, think we hold those corners back. We ooh, we ooh. And that's what you want, okay? Your bottom lip should be slightly over your teeth because you don't want to put teeth on your reed. I had a beginner the other day like, oh, I have my teeth on my reed. Oh, that's why you're getting that sound, that high squeaking sound. So this is how you do that. You pretend like you're putting on chapstick. Pretend you're putting on chapstick. Okay. Once you got that face, you're gonna put the reed in your mouth. Okay, the mouthpiece and reed. But there's a couple other things. So think wee you chapstick, and then you're gonna seal all around. You're gonna seal the air with your lips all around, just like one of those bags where you seal, like you close up the bag and it closes all the way around, right? That's what I want you to do. And then when you get it in your mouth, you have to actually anchor your teeth to the top of the reed, and you're gonna be pushing up, pushing up. So when you fully assemble your clarinet, you're actually gonna be pushing up and forward a little bit, and you want your embouchure to be nice and steady and firm, not loose. Okay. So let's try that. I'm gonna think wee, put the reed in my mouth, make sure it's centered. I'm pushing up with my teeth, and I'm gonna take a huge breath. Now, if you're not getting that sound, there may be some issues, okay? There may be some things that are happening. You have too much reed in your mouth. You have too little reed in your mouth. You're pinching the reed, okay? So here's a little trick here. I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'm going to carefully slide it in between the black mouthpiece and the reed itself. And then it stops where the reed's touching, where it actually touches the bigger part of the mouthpiece. Okay, that's about how much you want in your mouth. That's about how much reed you want in your mouth. Maybe give or take, okay? So you see, that's how much. Well, I'm going to try it again. I'm going to put the mouthpiece in my mouth. I'm holding it with 2 fingers, so try to do that. Don't do like a gorilla grip. 2 fingers, mouthpiece in the mouth. Think we you, and try to imagine your air going through and out the end, okay? Because we want that buzz. If I'm doing something weird, like that, like I'm pushing up too much or I'm pinching the reed, or if I'm using my teeth, yeah, that's not working. So we have to remember all those steps. Lips are a little over our teeth, not like that, just a little bit, like you're putting on chapstick. You, your corners are pushing this way. Your corners are pushing this way. And try to get that, okay? And then try to start with your tongue. So you're not gonna use your tongue here. You're gonna like flick your tongue kind of right there. And you're imagining you're saying the syllable two. Two. Okay? Oh, a power went out. No, my lights, they're like, we haven't seen anybody move in so long. Okay, lights back on. Let there be light. Okay, we're back. And so work on that mouthpiece stuff. Okay, there's certain notes that I want you to try to hit, but I want you to get a sound on your mouthpiece and then start using your tongue like you're imagining you're saying two. And try to go as long as you can, right? Maybe 2-3 seconds, but build that up. You have to use a lot of air on clarinet and bass clarinet. Okay, a ton of air. So every time you breathe, take a big breath. Now I'll break down in another video which notes you need to hit. For clarinet, it's A. So you hear that note? That's the note we want to get on our mouthpieces by themselves with just the reed of the mouthpiece. Okay, so that'll be the next video, and I'll break down the notes for each mouthpiece, okay? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.